Are we really that loud? I'm at minus 20. What
And
a.
we are live
Hey, hey.
and loud.
We're pretty close to the same. Sweet.
That's good.
Right? We got 8 amazing topics. Thanks to this guy over here.
For once, I actually added some topics to the doc.
I have not read them yet. Not even the titles.
Not even the titles. Well, I'll go ahead and list them off right now. We've got, starting off with this new graphics card called the RTX 3080, which just came out. Do you have one yet?
I actually put up a bot to buy all of them. I own about
That was you?
47. You're right.
Nice. So some scalpers use bots to buy pretty much all the RTX 3080s, and we'll talk about that article. Don't want to get too in-depth yet. If you play Call of Duty, you might want to change your passwords. No, that's not five. That's
That's a 5.
500,000. Yeah, 500,000 Activision account details were leaked, including some passwords, I believe.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot. Not as much as Facebook, but it's still a lot. If you have a OnePlus Nord mobile device, go ahead and back up your data. We'll tell you why in a little bit. We've got, a few weeks ago, we talked about Starlink and some of the employee tests, but now we have some more notable tests which actually have some test data and results, and also some third-party tests. So it might actually work.
Sweet.
We've got a cool graphic from over at domo.com, which talks about what goes on every minute on the internet.
Do you
And
really
then we
want to know
also
that?
have yes, you want to know that, and you want to watch this stream until we tell you about it.
Good
And
try.
we've also got an image from 2019, so we can kind of look at those and compare them. It's pretty interesting, hopefully. We've got our favorite game, Minecraft VR on PlayStation, is a free upgrade if you already own Minecraft on PlayStation. Kind of nice that that's included. Although, I don't know, it might be kind of expected. Microsoft buys Bethesda and says that they will honor upcoming PlayStation exclusives. And we've got some bad news for Nikola investors. If you're a investor in Nikola, if you own Nikola stock, you probably have already heard about all this stuff. But there's been some, shall we say, controversy with Nikola's founder, and the stock has dropped a lot recently. So I guess good news for Tesla, but bad news for Nikola founders, or Nikola investors. And that is all of our topics for this week. Starting off with the RTX 3080s.
Oh man, the amount of people that I've had call this past week asking me if I have any 3080s for sale has been through the roof.
It's a bummer that you don't have any, because people would probably be willing to pay a fair bit.
A lot more than a fair bit.
Yeah, that's true.
Looking at those eBay pricing.
Yes. So if you're not aware, the NVIDIA's RTX 3080s just came out. I think the 3080s were the first cards of the 3000 series that were released. Is that right?
Yes.
The
Because the
3080 is cool.
3070s are out today, I believe.
Okay. And then I think we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago that the 3060s would be the last ones released, right? The cheaper ones?
Yeah, and those are out next month, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe these are.
Well, if you've been shopping for an RTX 3080, they're not out there. I read another article about this, and it was interesting because I can't remember where it was. I don't have my source. I think maybe it was over on Reddit. I read something about how the eBay prices were going so high because people had written bots to bid up the eBay auctions.
Yeah.
So people may not actually be buying cards for those high prices, but it's bots placing fake bids essentially to raise the price.
To ruin
And
the
then
market.
Yeah, exactly. Just to ruin the people who are selling them, who also bought them, ruin their days. Because if you bid for an item on eBay and you win the auction, you still have an option to not actually buy the item.
Yeah. And so I've pulled it up. The 3080 released on the 17th, which was a couple days ago. But the 3090 releases here in 3 days on the 24th. But that's the $1,500 card. And then 3070 is coming in October, and everyone's suspecting mid-October.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So not the 3060, it's the 3080, 3090, and 3070.
70. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, looks like the 3080 got ruined by robots again.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if the same happens with the 3090.
I don't think so.
Do you think that's because it would be harder for the scalpers to sell them because it's so expensive to buy the cards that it's harder to make a profit? Or do you think that NVIDIA or the other people who are selling the cards will have reacted to this whole
No, I don't think
issue?
I don't think they reacted to this issue.
Yeah,
I think
I don't think so either.
100% because they're way more expensive. I think
that makes sense.
It going from, what was it? 3070 is at, or 3080 is at $700, $699, and then 3090 is at $15. So it's literally double plus 100.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's quite as much money in it for the scalpers. For when they resell it, they're not going to make quite the same profit.
Because, it was very clear that the demand for the 3080 was going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, because I was debating on getting a 3080 myself, but waiting until the AMD 4000 series releases and doing like a probably 37 or 4070, 4700. That would be what it would be. Because right now I have a 3600 downstairs.
Okay. You're talking about the
AMD processors.
I was reading the article. You're talking about the AMD. Yeah. The Ryzen.
Yep. Yeah. And so pairing a Ryzen processor with a 3080, I think would be a killer of a computer. Be a good upgrade.
Yes, for sure.
From something from 2012.
And this article here from Kotaku, however you pronounce that, does bring up a good point. About halfway down the article, underneath that big quote with the yellow on the left, it says, "Here's the thing, you can't stop this. Because as a seller, you really can't prevent scalpers doing this.
Yeah.
Because people are always going to be able to write bots to
get around
buy cards. Yeah, it's just... But what could you do? Limit it to one card per person, but then people make multiple accounts and they just keep going around your...
Yeah, because I'll say with Amazon, a lot with the Amazon Lightning deals or something, it's only one per person. But then I just send a Facebook message to friends like, "Hey, can you buy this for me?" And then I'll be able to get 3 or 4 of whatever that Lightning deal is.
Mm-hmm.
I personally wouldn't create 4 Amazon accounts just to snag Lightning deals. That's a little too much work. But the once every 6 months or once a year thing, when it's like, I need those. I was gonna buy them anyway. Right.
Yeah, but would you do it to buy a $700 graphics card that you could resell for $1,500? You know, so
it's kind of worth it.
Yeah.
For the scalpers.
Yeah. So you can put all the limitations in place, but people are going to get around them.
Yeah. So one thing that they talked about on the WAN show was that you could put in like anti-bot or like anti-cheat measures on this, but then you can just create a smarter bot. And CodeBullet does a great job on this if you can withstand the language and the videos.
Oh yeah, I like his stuff.
Because he actually did a video. I don't know how much we want to go off topic. He did a video uploaded just recently where he was going to compete on a Tetris online competition
Yeah.
thingy, and they have anti-bot measures.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was slowly speeding it up and making it smarter and faster until it would hit the anti-bot cheat and get kicked off. And then he would pull it back just a little bit. And he was crushing everybody 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because he just worked his way to the limitation and then just pulled it back just a little bit. And that's, I mean, anyone can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or someone can do it. Maybe not anyone.
I think anyone who wanted to make $800 selling graphics cards could do it.
Could find out a way.
Yeah. It's just the internet.
Speaking of the internet, hopefully you'll have
Finding a
access to
way.
this article. It won't be behind a paywall. We'll see.
It's going to be behind a paywall. Are you kidding? Over on Forbes.com.
Yeah, hey, it worked. Sometimes you can view like an article or two a month, I guess. I don't know how Forbes works. Anyway, Activision accounts got hacked. And if you play Call of Duty or you have an Activision account, you may want to change your passwords. Make sure you don't have any duplicate passwords because your passwords might have been leaked.
What is their thingy called?
Their game launcher or whatever.
Yeah. Law. I'm like,
I'm not sure.
I think I have it, but battle.net.
Battle.net. Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Maybe. Let me see if I have it. Yeah, it probably is battle.net. This is one of the reasons you don't want to use the same password for
Oh, I do, just not
multiple
anymore.
accounts.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
So there it is there. Just battle.net. But 500,000 accounts. Because I have Overwatch. I was like, I know I have an Activision Blizzard game. I can't remember what it was, though.
So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Just a PSA. Anything else you've got on that article?
Not really. I mean, don't use the same password for anything. That's
Yeah.
not rocket science, I guess.
Speaking of PSAs, if you have a OnePlus Nord device, you may want to back up your data because there's been issues with them randomly resetting in their owner's pockets.
So don't put it in your pocket and it won't ever reset.
That's not a promise.
That's just what the title says.
Is it?
If you twist the words.
Not really. But yeah, apparently there's been a ton of different threads over on OnePlus's forums that says this is a trend that's been starting.
That's wild.
Yeah. Phones have been randomly rebooting, losing random bits of data, or just freezing up. And some of them are even performing a factory reset completely on their own.
Now, has there been proof that completely factory reset on their own? Because dealing with people who have computers, things just deleting themselves happens a lot. And usually you just roll with it because the customer is always right. And it doesn't always delete itself.
I can see that, but I think since this seems to be a trend, and it's all kind of happening at one time, and specifically with OnePlus Nord devices,
yeah,
it seems like it's either a problem with the device, or maybe it's too easy to accidentally reset the device to factory settings, which in itself is actually a problem with the device, in my opinion.
So this may not even be like as big of an issue as they make it out to be, because like my phone just updated with Android, and I have the Samsung S10e. Ta-da! It's a real phone. Hey, and it just put up all my credit card details. Thank you. And
Did it just factory reset?
right, that would aggravating.
Just every Android device just factory reset.
And the way Android works is like Google makes like subsidiary Android whatever, and then Android itself will run updates, and then it pushes it off to Samsung or OnePlus or Nokia or whatever the other brands are, and then they have to make it work with their phones. And that's why like all the Samsung devices seem to get their updates about the same time as all the rest of the Samsung devices or such. And so OnePlus probably implementing the Android version just did something wrong, and it will probably be updated like that, I would assume. Now that there's like, here's the problem. They probably have their top developers on it.
Yeah, hopefully so. So if you do own a OnePlus Nord device, back up your data and also pay attention to the news and see when that patch comes out, and try and upgrade your phone as soon as they find a fix.
Yeah. Or just never upgrade your phone. Always push later, and then just never restart your device ever.
As long as it's working.
As long as it's working.
If it ain't broke, don't broke it.
What terrible advice.
Is your internet broke? Well, Starlink is trying to unbroke it. We talked about Starlink, I think it was 2 weeks ago, looking back at our documents. And we talked about some employee tests. But this article from over at ZDNet actually has some performance testing results.
Have you already read them?
A little bit.
All right, I saw something about 40, and then I decided to scroll back up. 40 down should be plenty, but my best bet is that they're getting like 40 down and up together. I think that's what we're talking about. They were getting like in the 20s. I think we were saying 2 weeks ago, and that is better. It's better. It's better than 40 down.
Yeah.
All right, we're jumping by tens because that's how you troubleshoot. Is it 400 down?
No.
All right. Is it 200 down?
No.
100?
Yes, it's 100 down and an upload of 40. That's where you saw the 40.
Okay, yeah, 40.5.
But here's the really interesting thing to me, because one of the biggest issues with satellite internet is latency. And SpaceX, Elon Musk, they've said that they want to get the latency to be down, like in the milliseconds. I'm talking even maybe single-digit milliseconds. And from these tests, it looks like they're getting 18 milliseconds to 19 milliseconds, which is really, really good. I think that's probably better than my latency, like hardwired latency.
So here's my hardwired latency. I have 15 and 19 milliseconds.
Okay.
But we're also streaming. But it's usually right there in the teens.
Okay, so that's pretty good. What tool are you using for that? I can see what mine is.
Fast.com. If you share your screen, though, it gives you your IP address and location at the bottom. So,
okay.
Don't show me your screen, I guess.
Show more info. Let's see. Oh, wow. 22 milliseconds. Okay. That's actually better than I thought. Anyway, one of the things that I was worried about with Starlink was that their latency was not going to be as good as they were promising or hoping for. So actually seeing tests with that type of latency is a really good sign and kind of proof of concept.
Yeah, 1819 is totally playable for pretty much anybody. That's so low.
And then if you scroll down beneath that paragraph, it also says other independent third-party tests are showing lower performance numbers. Users posting to testmy.net are showing an average download speed of 37 megabits per second with the top speed of 91 megabits per second. Others show a top download number of 103 megabits per second, upload speed of 41 megabits per second, and a latency of 18 milliseconds. So not quite as high as the results from SpaceX's test, but I'd rather see a third-party test anyway. And these numbers are actually still pretty
very, very close.
Yeah.
You can run 2 tests right now back to back with fast.com and get a bigger difference than 37 to 40.
Yeah. Well, that's download speed. So that's comparing 100 megabits per second download from Spacelink and then 37 megabits per second from a third-party test.
Oh, okay.
Those are downloads, yeah. But there was a top speed of 91 in a third-party test, so it varies a little bit there.
So it is a lot slower. I thought it was like barely difference.
It's a lot slower, like 1/3 of the speed for this specific.
Okay.
Or actually for the average. So.
Yeah. Okay,
but still, that's pretty good.
Yeah. See, I thought they were like 3 megabits off. I'm like, that's the same speed.
Yeah.
You can't tell 3 megabits out of 100.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. If it's a third, that's a noticeable amount. But I still argue that 30 megabits is enough for the average family today. Maybe not tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's like,
I agree.
That's like 4K Netflix streams going at the same time. How many different movies are you going to watch at the same time?
Yeah.
But no, that's some wild fast speeds. I guess latency just isn't a real thing anymore.
Yeah, unless you're using the traditional satellite internet, in which case, yeah, you're working with like 500 milliseconds.
So one part of me is curious on how weather dependent it is. If that changes the average, super like how Dish TV, if it's cloudy, you just don't magically get any signal. And then like what if it's consistency? So their average might be 37 for everybody, but then like is it 37 second to second, or is it fast some seconds, slow some seconds, just because of everything in the air? I'm curious if you're constant speed.
Yeah.
Because like anything can ramp up really fast, do something super fast, and then ramp back down. That's like how hyper-threading and a lot of stuff ramps up, then it heats up, and then it comes back down. And I'm curious if that makes a difference.
Yeah, it honestly, looking at the numbers in that article with top speeds of 100 megabits per second and average speed of 37 megabits per second, it might be that it is somewhat inconsistent in speed, and that's why the high is so high and the average is so much lower than the max. But yeah, I'm glad to see some third-party tests and an actual test to test the proof of concept. Ooh.
It was the average download speed 37. It's a blue link.
Okay. Yep.
Click
Gotcha.
testmy.net SpaceX Starlink speed test log, and you can see that like the upload speed sits at like 5 megabits for pretty much everybody for a while, and then all of a sudden it jumps up to pretty much 18 megabits for everybody, because there's 15 there, there's 20, so it jumps about 18 for everybody. And it's either like working or not working. It seems like it's either great or something's happening, because there's like spikes all the way down.
Gotcha.
And then it looks like it jumps again here around the 17th, and people are getting up in like the 28s. So it looks like it's almost steps. I'm not sure if you're looking at the same graph now.
I am. Yeah, I think so.
For these are just upload speeds, I believe.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Let's see if I hit download. Can we give you download speeds? Okay, so then if you hit the arrows on like the list, like the orange and blue arrows, you can change if you see upload or download. So I hit the blue one, it gives me downloads. And it looks like people are constantly, like that started out in the 50s to 60s, then went down to 40s to 50s. And then on the 17th, probably. Yeah, on the 17th, it looks like it jumped up, and now everyone's getting up into the 90s. Or the majority. The top percentage.
That's a really big jump.
So I'm curious what happened on the 17th, because upload and download jumped up.
Yeah, well, they're definitely still in the beta stages, so they could be making big changes to even the software on the satellites. You know, or it could be that they just got a lot more satellites come online, and somehow that distributed the amount of work each satellite's doing.
Which
could
very well be true.
Yeah, they launched some into space, and then they're not immediately active. I'm sure they have to get into the proper orbit, and then they probably activate them. So it could be something like that.
Yeah. Yes, it looks like they did some type of launch at the end of July, beginning of August, because upload jumps huge, but the download stays pretty much the same. And then there's another jump here, this 16th to 17th, that the download doubles almost, which is wild.
Yeah. This is cool to see. It's a good proof of concept, especially in terms of latency. But another roadblock I could potentially see coming is once they have a lot more users and there's a lot more people using the satellites, it could drop everyone's speed.
Yeah.
If you have one user using the satellite, maybe you're getting 100 megabits per second, and then once you get 2 users, their speed drops in half. And then 3 users, it drops in thirds. I mean, I'm sure it wouldn't be that quickly, but still, the more users you have.
And you would definitely like to see the line less jagged than that. You'd like to see it.
Yeah.
It's much more smooth rather than.
Yeah.
A lot of people have internet, but some people don't.
Yeah. So there's still more things for them to overcome, but
they're getting there.
I think it's definitely a good proof of concept. Yeah, we're getting there. Speaking of getting there, we're getting to the midpoint of this stream.
What?
Which is sponsored by Jmart Media and Nephew Tech.com.
The website still works.
Hey, that's always a plus. I think I just re-updated my domain.
I will say one of my domains said it had 7 days left today. I have no idea which one. We will find out. You
wouldn't want it to expire.
We'll find out in 7 days when one of them doesn't load. So y'all get ready.
Speaking of stuff that happens on the internet every minute, we've got this article from, the article's from Visual Capitalist, but the image is from domo.com. And it's a pretty cool image about everything that happens every minute of the day in 2020.
Let's see. There we go.
So there's a lot of stuff on here. Immediately, one of the things that pops up to me is YouTube users upload 500 hours of video. Think about that. Every minute, 500 hours of video are uploaded.
That is wild. So, are you falling behind, or are you keeping caught up?
Definitely falling behind.
Mobile apps are $3,800. I would have thought it would be way higher.
Yeah, same.
So I'm gonna pull up a calculator and do some scientist work here. If we do 3,805, we could do it on camera. Look at that. Times 60. Times 24. That's how much money is made in a day on mobile apps. 100,000 million. 5.4 million. We can say 5.5 because we're rounding a day in 2020. How many days do you think's been in 2020 so far? Like at least 100? At least 100.
We're about 3/4 the way through the year, so
about 300.
Yeah, just call it 300.
Wait, isn't it
Fall started today, actually.
no. So
Or autumn.
Yeah, right. That's one of those days. We'll say it's been 150 days. We're totally
Say
wrong.
270. Say 270.
270.
Yeah.
All right. 270. Is that a good number?
Yeah,
I'd
it's a good
agree.
number.
100,000 million, 1.4 billion.
A lot of money.
That's a lot.
But you know what's a lot more money?
Oh no.
Every minute, consumers spend $1 million online.
Wait,
Every minute.
where's that one? Oh,
On
wow.
the far right side. It's a little bit more than $3,800.
That's weird. For online, they have a mobile apps. And then they're like, and then online.
Yep, that's true. Like Instagram.
I'm curious how they got the perfect number of $1 million per minute and then just got this
They rounded a
oddball
lot.
number of
Yeah.
3805. Like those extra $5. I want to see like a 0.49 cents or something.
Yeah, probably whatever source they got the data from had it. It
No,
wasn't very specific in the money spent online.
Netflix has
might
an
have.
error of 404,000.
Hours of video not found.
Right.
So this is a pretty cool article. If you're into this kind of thing, definitely check it out. The links will be in our descriptions. But another interesting thing, if you scroll down a little bit, there's another graph. A little bit further down.
Oh, I'm in the photo.
Oh, gotcha. Classic beginner mistake. That graph there. So it took me a little while to understand how exactly this graph works. But the people who made this graphic, the actual image, the people at, what was it called, Domo?
Oh, these are the top things.
Yes, this is a list of companies who have been on this graphic in the past 8 years. So if the bar is filled out white, it means that that company was listed somewhere on this graph in that year.
Wow.
And each year they might be talking about different statistics. Like one year it might say 500 hours of video viewed on YouTube. One year it might say 200 videos watched on YouTube every minute. So, you know, it's not like comparing.
Yeah. But it means that they were big enough to appear on the list.
Exactly. Yep. So we've got things like YouTube, obviously, Instagram, Twitter. Those were all big things. Basically, all the past 8 years. Yelp hasn't really been as popular recently. Pandora, which is the music player. Vine, of course, is not on there anymore because rip Vine. Facebook Messenger was only on there in 2016, but I feel like Facebook Messenger, I mean, I don't have the statistics to back this up, but has probably been pretty steady in usage over the years, although it may have declined some with Instagram.
So the odd part is it says Facebook Messenger is in here 2016, and Facebook was not here 2016, but it was here 12, 13, or they skipped 13. We're not going to bother with that though. 12, 14, 15, and then Messenger was 16, and then Facebook was again 2020. But on this list for Facebook, users share 150,000 messages. So shouldn't it be Messenger?
Let me see.
At that point, how do you define the two as different? It's the bottom right corner.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And then you've got some newer things also at the bottom.
Yeah.
DoorDash, Zoom, TikTok, Microsoft Teams. So, yeah, kind of interesting. And then I also included a link to last year's image down there.
Oh, gotcha.
And so, I mean, pretty much the same concept, but So if you wanted to find the 2018 version, I'm sure you could just change the 7 in that URL to a 6 and keep going back.
Is that what you just did?
Yeah. I tried to change on this article from Visual Capitalist. The URL is Every Minute Internet 2020. I tried to change that to Every Minute Internet 2019, and they didn't write an article about it last year. So that didn't work, but yeah. I like cool graphics like this.
So what would be fun is to get another tech person on this
Yeah.
1 week and get all the years lined up, but then crop it out of the picture and see if they can put the years in order by what companies are up there.
That's a great idea, actually.
So like the 2021 might be easier because you have Zoom and Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, TikTok.
But then like, yeah. But like this 2019 one, nothing really stands out to me. I mean, there's the hashtag love. But I don't know if that was 2019 or 2018. Like,
yeah.
My years kind of run together.
Yeah. That would be a cool idea, actually. We should do that.
Like, these are like the 20 most famous websites of the year. How do you not know which year goes with which?
Yeah. Or 20 of the big ones.
Yeah, right?
Speaking of big things, Minecraft VR is coming out on PlayStation, and it's going to be a free upgrade if you already own Minecraft on PlayStation.
So I think that's a good thing.
I agree.
You shouldn't charge people a second time just because they changed their controller.
Yes.
Fight me on that one.
But when people bought Minecraft for their PlayStation, they were expecting to use it with a game controller, not expecting it necessarily to be VR. So I don't think that it had to be released for free. I kind of would have been okay with them making you buy a new game because it is really a new game. But I do think it's cool that they're including it.
So is it actually different than the Minecraft, like Java or Bedrock or whatever they're using? Because the last time I checked, it was cross-compatible with Java. Oh, look, someone might be watching. But it might be compatible with Java.
I'm not sure, but I think making it VR is a big enough change.
So, as Mohang, whatever, said earlier this month, there are no changes to the game for virtual reality beyond some basic interface tweaks. Everything else remains exactly the same, with players using the PS4 controller to make about the virtual world. The game is 100% the same Minecraft game that you could play every day, every week, every month, every year on PlayStation 4. Mojang said nothing removed, 100% wholesome and pure, full-fat Minecraft.
Yeah, well, in that case, it probably does make sense. People would have gotten pretty upset, I think, if they didn't get it for free after reading that.
Yeah, I believe at one point you were able to play Minecraft on the PlayStation cross-play with the PC people.
Okay.
I believe it was this game. I don't know what other game it would be, to be honest. Yeah, no, it's always good to see somehow Minecraft still being, like, on the frontier. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
As I have watched at least 2 Minecraft videos today. That's a fun game.
Speaking of games. Microsoft is buying
Bethesda?
Bethesda. Yeah, that's how you pronounce it.
I have no idea. It's just... if you say it with confidence.
They're buying Bethesda, who is the owner of Doom, Fallout, and some other games. And Bethesda already had some games in the pipeline that were going to be PlayStation 5 exclusives. But Microsoft also owns Xbox. So
Yeah.
people were wondering whether they would honor those PlayStation exclusives, and they are, which is cool.
So I
But
wonder
I
if
would
they legally have
go
to.
ahead. That's a good question.
Because it would almost be like, because if it's an exclusive, there's probably a term to it. I mean, you can't just like exclusive forever.
Yeah,
and then just
probably
expect it forever.
probably a signed contract somewhere.
And so it might be like a 5-year or the next 2 games or something like that.
Or even just those specific games.
Yeah.
Which are Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. And it says that other games will hit non-Xbox platforms on a case-by-case basis.
So is it PlayStation and PS5 that's worried about it being coming to other consoles, or is it the users, which wouldn't make any sense in my opinion? To me, as like a person who plays games, shocking, right? I would want that game to be on as many platforms as possible, and to be like as loved as possible for the survival rate of it. Like Minecraft, it's on every console, everywhere,
including mobile.
right? And it's going to survive, unless they pull some stunt like what was that? Battleground player on PUBG, was it them? Nope, Fortnite. Which one got yanked off the App Store?
Yeah,
Fortnite. And then PUBG took its place.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as Microsoft doesn't pull a stunt like that, I think Minecraft will be fine. And I would think that gamers would want, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo to be on as many consoles and as many people's hands as possible.
Yes, I agree that logically that makes sense. So I guess that it is probably the PlayStation 5 or Sony in general who's worried about the exclusives. But also, gamers can be really
weird,
shall we say, confrontational when it comes to Xbox versus PlayStation.
Right.
So I can definitely see how some people would want the game to only be available on PlayStation, even if it doesn't affect them one way or the other.
Yeah.
Whether it's on Xbox as well.
Yeah. And then like devil advocate at whatever that thingy. The benefit of it not being on another console is that means that it might have more story or be better suited for my console, because now the developer's not having to build it for 2 different platforms.
Yeah.
But in saying that, anyone who develops a game for Xbox at this point is also developing it for Windows, because it's basically the same thing. And so the amount of work that it's taking now to make it multi-platform is so minimal. You're like, oh, it's taking arbitrary number 2 days of extra work on a developer to be able to switch over the interface or whatever,
Yeah.
So, like, it could hinder the game's performance or funness, if that's a word. But I don't see how it affects it enough to be.
It's not the end of the world. Yeah.
Right. Like, oh no, my grass only has, 3 points of turning rather than the 4 that my console can handle, or some,
Yeah.
Pity arguments.
Yeah. And I would say that's different than making something, if you're designing something to work with PlayStation and PC, for example, because the control surfaces for PC and a game device are a little bit different.
They are.
But yeah, definitely between Xbox and PlayStation, it's like the user experience shouldn't be that different.
It's pretty close.
Speaking of user experience, if you invested in Nikola stock, your user experience might be poor. We've talked about Nikola a little bit and how they're competing with Tesla's vehicles. Tesla has a semi-truck in their plans or whatever, and Nikola said that Tesla was copying their design and all this stuff. We talked about that before. but this is something that's pretty new over the past week or two. And Nikola's founder, Trevor Milton, has now stepped down because of some misleading statements that he and the company have made regarding their vehicles. And that has caused the stock to drop. And I also included 2 links to some of these misleading statements. You can check them out in our description probably. One of them is where he's at a conference demoing or, showing their vehicle, and they have the truck on stage for people to look at and stuff. And 2 of the statements he makes are, he says, quote, "We will have a chain on the seats, etc., etc. I don't want someone to end up doing something and driving this truck off the stage," which could be seen as a joke, could certainly be seen as a joke, but also indicates that the truck can drive.
Right.
And then right after that statement, he says, "So we're going to try to keep people from driving off, but this thing fully functions and works, which is really incredible."
So,
which cannot be interpreted as a joke very easily.
Right. Looking at just the YouTube video, he is inside, isn't he?
No, he's inside a building. He's not inside the truck, if that's what you mean.
Yeah, so he could have made the joke that he can't crank it because of the emissions, because it's an electric. Like, he could have made it a joke and then not, and then that's like a joke that has a reason why you can't drive it. Like, we can't crank this truck indoors because of the emissions. And that would be a funny joke too, rather than we can't crank it because we might kill everyone sitting in the first 17 rows.
Well, just driving off the stage, not like exploding or anything. And then below that, I linked another YouTube video, which is a promo for one of the Nikola trucks. I don't remember the name of it, Nikola One or something like that.
I got it.
And this video is from 2018. And if you go down to the description and read the description, see what it says.
Behold, the 1,000 horsepower, zero-emission Nikola One semi-truck in motion. Learn more about the Nikola Motor Company here at Domain.
From that, you would think that the
truck would give 0 emissions.
From the video, you think the truck's driving, right? Like, play a little bit of the video. I think from the beginning. Yeah, something
right there.
It appears as if the truck is driving, right, and operational and actually works. You can see how
moving?
People would think that. It is actually moving. But another article I linked, there's so many YouTube videos and articles. Check the description, guys. This article from Ars Technica has a quote from Nikola admitting that the prototype was rolling downhill. It's not actually under its own propulsion.
Oh, no.
Which, from the description, behold the 1,000 horsepower zero-emission Nikola One semi-truck in motion. It doesn't actually say it's driving itself, but it's pretty misleading when you have the truck driving down a road. So, yeah. Basically, TLDR, TLDW, too long didn't watch, TLDL, too long didn't listen. The deal is, they're really misleading, and I don't know. There's investigations into all these lies and deception.
Man, I really want to buy a fire truck right now and then roll it down a hill. I got a new electric zero-emission fire truck.
Zero emissions because of gravity.
Right. It only creates emissions going uphill.
Yeah. So, yeah, the founder guy, Trevor Milton, has now stepped down and had someone else come up to replace him, some guy from GM. And the company's shares fell 22%. Because obviously the company is worth more if it actually has a truck that runs in like pre-production or at least a prototype versus a truck that just rolls downhill because of gravity. The company's not worth quite as much. So if you want to invest in Nikola, now's probably a good time to do it.
I want to say that. So I have the stock pulled up.
Yeah, if you think that Nikola has a chance long term, now might be a good time to invest because it's dropping, so the stocks are cheaper. But
the stocks are about the same price they were on July 30th. They're $1.50 different. From 29 was on July 30th, and today they're on $27.
Gotcha.
But like the 20% drop or whatever, it dropped from 33-ish. We're rounding because numbers really don't matter. $33. And then it says it dropped to 25. So like an $8 drop. And then it instantly went up to 28. And now it's pretty much in the 28, 27 mark. So like it did drop a whole $5.
But the important thing is the percentage.
Yeah. How long?
So, yeah, we actually had a fair bit of topics this week.
Wow, we actually hit the bottom. I thought that went really well. We hit 51 minutes on 8 of your topics. But when we have 6 of my topics, we hit a whole 24 minutes. Your topics are much better.
Superb.
Right?
Excellent. Excellent.
Oh, man. I think that went pretty well.
Me too. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Enjoy looking through all those links I posted.
Right. There's like 30
and
of
YouTube
them.
videos. Yeah. One of those YouTube videos is like 30 minutes long, but I included the timestamp, so you're good.
Yeah, I did notice that. That was very nice.
Yeah. Well, actually, the article I pulled it from already had it timestamped, so that was convenient.
Very convenient. Sweet. I think we are out of here for the night.
Sounds good to me. Have a good night. We'll talk about it next week.
We're talking about all the